Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you guys here to another edition of Credit Keys and Cocktails. I am elated today to have fellow rattlers with me. I have with me Coach Sean and I have also Robin Carter. And today we are going to be talking about leveraging credit. Of course, we're talking about credit, but we're also going to be talking about leveraging that credit to get short-term rentals. As people know, Airbnb is just a generic term, but it's short-term rentals, and to be able to get out there and use that credit to the best of your ability. So we are here, and like I said, it's a FAMU edition. Everybody is here. We're being a little festive today with our orange and green. I have my pom-pom, I have my hat, and we're just ready to go and jump in. So again, I'm Kimberly Shannon of Credit Keys and Cocktails, and of course, Credit Keys and Cocktails and Good Credit RX. So tonight we are going to have moderating Coach Sean tonight. And then Coach Sean, I'm going to let you come on and do your introductions and we'll go from there tonight.
All right. Awesome. As always, I'm so excited to be here. I have two people that I have known for over 30 years. We all met on the yard, and they are phenomenal women in their own right. So I'm very awesome to just be on this platform with them. My business partner, Kimberly Shannon, and Robin Carter. And she's going to just really share some gems and talk about the Airbnb process, short-term, long-term, and how she did it with personal credit. Kim's going to talk to us a little bit about the business credit aspect for those of you that are really looking into get into the Airbnb and the property. Y'all, we are really trying to take this to another level. So I'm so excited to be here. I am a credit coach, business and personal credit. I also work with small businesses to help them get started. So listen, y'all, it's not always about just credit, but it is an important part of our lives. So we just want to make sure that we can educate you on all levels and help you take it to another level. So with that being said, I like to yield the floor to Robin Carter so she can introduce herself to everyone.
Hello. Thank you, Coach Sean. I appreciate that. Hello, everybody. My name is Robin Carter of the Carter Development Group. Carter Development Group is my real estate development Airbnb rental arm. I also own a company called the Carter Consulting Group. So I play also in the food and beverage space from a consulting perspective, and I have a full-time job. So I share that with everybody because I'm a firm believer in multiple streams of income. I appreciate Coach Sean and Kimberly inviting me on here today because there's a number of ways that you can approach this thing if it's something that you're essentially interested in. And I'm looking forward to sharing whatever nuggets and wisdom I have with you today to help you become successful in this area.
Awesome. So let's just jump right into it. A lot of times we hear individuals talk to us about the idea of Airbnb or just buying investment property as a whole. And the one thing that I think about is that before we get in the process of doing it, I always say the thing that we do is be intentional about doing it. And a lot of times we are intentional about getting the supplies, but not intentional about preparing our mindset. So Robin, as an owner of several Airbnbs, talk to the people a little bit about the difference between long-term rentals, short-term rentals, and what type of mindset they need to have to even enter this arena.
Yes, a very good question, Coach Sean. I'll be honest with you. I didn't plan to go into Airbnb. That's not really how it worked. So I'll tell you, sometimes when you I originally planned to purchase a home, my next door neighbor's home. I was going to gut rehab it and sell the property. That literally was my story. What ended up happening, however, though, was, in working with the developer, talking a little bit about Airbnb, I had talked to some folks about Airbnb and realized that it could be lucrative. You could make, a tremendous amount of profit in that arena versus the long-term rental space. So I think there's a couple of things. There's benefits to long-term rental in that It solidifies you to have just that long-term rental. It's something that you can always count on a month and a month out basis, so to speak. I'm going to say, and I know Kimberly knows what I'm talking about in that space. All renters are not good renters. Okay, so that's number one. Short-term rentals, however, pretty much I found we're guaranteed in many instances. Once they book with you, and they have to book with you, they'll book, they definitely pay. If anything happens, Airbnb helps you cover it. If there's any incidental, sometimes you'll have folks that come into play, may want to party or something, might get broken or whatever the case may be, but it was pretty much a nice guarantee. So that's what I liked about it. I like long-term renters for the sustainability around being a long-term rental, but I also like the short-term rental piece for the profitability elements of it at the same time as well. So you're basically like a mini hotel in many respects. So that's what I liked about it. That's what I found to be, the difference in it. What I tend to do with my properties, however, though, is that the way I built them out, and again, this wasn't intentional. Honestly, guys, it just kind of happened. I live in Chicago. My properties are 3 levels. There's a basement. Both of the basements, you can walk in and walk out 2 ways, which is very important because people have to be safe. And then the upstairs is your regular upstairs with your kitchen and living room, bathroom, and then upstairs there's your bathrooms and your bedroom, so to speak. And I always have a washer and dryer. The basement apartment has a washer and dryer as well. So everybody has the ability to be able to function independently. The reason why I like that particular model is that the bottom is always rented. So I always have money coming in. I have loans, I have mortgages on my places. I don't know about other people, but I do, just being honest, right? So that basically helps to pay the mortgage, and you always have something solidified. And then up top is where you may get weekend rentals, you may get week rentals, you may get monthly rentals. It just all depends. But I like to know that I have something solidified for money coming in, and then I like to circumvent with it and add to it with the Airbnb. And I'll call that short-term rentals up top, because I've also used my place not only from an Airbnb perspective for weekend stays. I actually, during the COVID time frame, actually had long-term nurses, right? Because people needed nurses, loved the nurses. Yeah. So there's tons of things that you can actually do with these spaces. And a lot of times you don't find this out until you get into the game. I'll be honest with you. So that honestly, Coach Sean, is the way I kind of got into it. That's what I would label as the difference between long-term and short-term. And then, also how I've utilized the spaces that I actually have.
Okay. Kim, do you want to add anything to that?
No, again, like Robin said, it is, and I'm finding in my research, and actually I'm getting ready to get into the Airbnb space, hopefully in the next 60 days. Yeah. So I've been a long-term renter, landlord for a extensive amount of time, probably now. How I acquired my properties, unfortunately, my parents passed away, and I have both properties. So both of those properties I've rented out over the course of years. Again, as you said, you can sometimes have renters, as I say, renters from hell. And then you also sometimes can be blessed to have those that will just stay and stay and stay. And I have property management, because I no longer live in that area. I have property management. My property manager has been very good at screening applicants, making sure that I had people that were going to be on point. I've not had any problems in the past. I would say in the past year or two, I've not had any problems with a bunch of late rents, having to threaten people to kick them out and evict them, and having to go down to the courthouse and do those things as I have previously. But as you said, it's much more lucrative. You're looking at maybe sometimes a profit of maybe 1,000 to sometimes 1,000, sometimes even less if you have a mortgage, of course, on a property. I'm just blessed that I did not. But you have places, and I have friends that are landlords that have mortgages. So if you have that mortgage, you may only be getting $300 to $500, at tops every month, as opposed to going in and having an Airbnb. Generally, sometimes that 1 week, sometimes even a weekend can cover your overhead. Absolutely. And then you're looking at maybe the rest of the month of being straight profit. And then we'll probably get into that with you, Robin, as well, as I'm interested as well, is talking about how many days of the month that you can sometimes look at as far as being an average of occupancy. But definitely Airbnb, I think, is the way to go. as you said, the nurses there, I have friends that are COVID nurses that have traveled all across this country now after this COVID and during this COVID that have found, places that are furnished and places that they've been able to go in and stay for, sometimes a month or more once they have a contract based on that. So I love it. I'm loving it. I'm just looking forward to getting into the space myself here in a few days.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about a couple of things, because Robin, one of the things you said was that you have a mortgage, and so owning properties myself, and having a nightmare tenant stories. You have some very great stories, and then you have some stories that it's like, why did I ever get into this?
Yeah.
So when you have a mortgage, you always want to make sure whatever you're doing, you want to make sure that you meet that. But one of the misconceptions is that in order to run an Airbnb, you actually have to own the property. Now, so you have a mortgage on your Airbnb. Kim, I believe your property is under, and that's your Airbnbs are under your personal credit line.
So the one that so what I'm looking at, the ones that I have rented out, those type. So I have one that is actually still personal. And then I have one that I have transitioned because, of course, when you get more knowledge, of course, like Robin said, when you get in it, you just put your feet in there. I tell people, don't be afraid. Everything is not going to always be perfect initially. So once you get into it, now I've established having LLC that now my properties will fall under that business credit. So now I've established business credit with that one property. And then these Airbnbs that we're talking about, I'm going to try to do, LLC with those as well. Business credit.
So, Robin, with your personal properties, I believe you indicated you have about 4, and you did them all through your personal credit. So what's some of the advice, or what are some of the things that you would tell a person who does not have established business credit, that's looking to get into the Airbnb, the short-term, long-term business using their personal credit? What are some of the advice or some of the mistakes that you have made and challenges that you run up against and things that you've learned and corrected along the way? And what would you do differently?
Yeah, I would say, fortunately for me, I was in a situation where, and kind of how I got into the Airbnb space kind of came out of misfortune. I have been with a company for 17 years. I thought I was going to retire from this company until I got a boss that decided that wasn't going to be the case. Okay. So I ended up losing my job in 2017. And basically that's, I was like, okay, I lost my job. I kind of knew it was going to happen. So in my mind, I'll be honest with you. I was like, hey, am I going to go out and just get another job right straight off the grip, or am I going to chill? I had been working forever since I was like 12. And I said, you know what? I'm about to take the severance package. I'm about to, because it was a nice severance package. I didn't work for a while. And I had it was great severance package. That was a great situation.
That's always a bonus. That's always a bonus.
It is a blessing. But a lot of people, I'll be honest with you, I tell this story because a lot of people will take these severance packages and then immediately go and get another job. Whatever it is you want to do. That was not my ministry. I knew that's not really where I wanted to go. And so I knew I needed a break because I had just come out of, at least in that last role, a mini Hill-like situation. So it was time for me to take a grown-up sabbatical. And fortunately, I could afford to do that. So I take the sabbatical. I went on 1 or 2 vacations like that first month, but then I got into okay, what's next mode? Are you going to go back to corporate America, or are you going to become an entrepreneur? I took entrepreneur classes. I enhanced my network. I realized that these entrepreneur classes had always been out there, you all. But I also realized, because I was working so much, traveling so much, I was literally a visitor in my own neighborhood. I didn't even know what my community could offer me. So I'm saying this to say the knowledge that we're providing people today, tap into your community and what the community is offering you in terms of entrepreneurship, training. Obviously the work Coach Sean, you and Kimberly are doing is fantastic. That could add to these things. Get to know what's going on in your neighborhood and what it can offer to you, specifically at this particular time, because there's so much going on coming out of all the George Floyd stuff. There's money everywhere, is what I'm saying. So get to know that. Anyway, so
that's good information. That's good information.
I mean, it's real information. So once I actually took these entrepreneurship classes, I was in there. I really went for real estate. realized that as I was answering more questions in the food and beverage space, because that's what I had worked in for years, I came out of there with not one, but two businesses. So I was in the midst of rehabbing a home that I had just purchased. That's the one I'm sitting in now. Actually, I purchased this house, and this is my real life. I purchased this house in 2016. I was so busy that it was just sitting there, and I was just paying for it, living in another house. This is the real story. And when I lost my job, I had always wanted to buy. This is in the house I was not living in. I was living in a house now. Try to roll with me. I was living in one house.
We rolling with you. We rolling with you.
House A. I bought house B, but house B sat because I didn't have time to work on it because I was working, right? I had always wanted house C, which was right next door to me. It was an older gentleman who 90 some odd years old. It was empty. He actually moved out, went into a home. I wrote them a letter because one day I came home from a trip and he was gone. So I wrote a letter and said, hey, if you ever want to sell this house, let me know. So remember, I'm living in house A. I had bought house B. I lose my job. Okay. But the day I lost my job was the same day that I signed my construction loan for this home. Look at God.
Thank God.
I'm telling y'all a real story. It was like the same day.
Now, Robin, let me just jump in real quick, because for those of you that are listening that have not purchased property, you may not understand this. But when you purchase property, especially personal, under your personal, and you're using your personal credit, on the day that you close, they verify that you still work where you said you worked when you started the process.
They
so
do.
If you lose your job anytime in between or anything changes, that shifts everything.
Thank you, Coach. So, that's what I was getting at. You were correct. So I signed them on the same day. So I'm working on this house. Well, all of a sudden, my next door neighbor who was in the home dies, right? And I was like, well, I still want this house. So they called me, right? So she called me and she was like, hey, I got this house. And I got this house. She was offering me a great price. And I was like, I'm going to buy this house. Crazy now. I ain't got no job. I'm about to do this other house.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to gut rehab this other house. But I knew that this was an opportunity of a lifetime. I done bought the other house, y'all. That's exactly what I did. So I ended up buying this other home and literally was gut rehabbing, both of them essentially at the same time. The reason I was able to do that was because I actually did have really good credit.
When you say really good credit, because I'm the founder of Sexy Credit.
But I wasn't, Kylie, I was like in the 800s. I think I was like high 7s.
Okay,
but which is still good. Usually,
I don't know, but I was.
I didn't want you to give me an exact. I just needed you to give me a.
I was in the high 7s. I wasn't even in the 8s. I'm just letting people know I was like high 7s at the time. My mother always brags about her 850. I wasn't that. I was in these high 7s, and that's where I was. So it afforded me the opportunity to essentially do those things. So what I would say to people is your credit is key. If you don't have it, the one thing I think we don't do well as a community is that we don't work well together. So is there anybody that has the same aspiration as you, that believes in you, that may have a better situation than yours from a credit-worthy perspective, that you can actually partner with if you have cash available to you, or if you can offer up something that they can't essentially offer up? You may be the person who could do the rehab work or have the connections, because I tell you, that will break you. If you have a terrible contractor, I don't care how much money you have, it can break you.
You pay almost double. Yeah.
It can break you. So, think about those things. I don't say it's impossible, Coach Sean, because it is not, but I think people have to be creative on the way that they, essentially want to approach it. But I will always say, if there's any way that you can work on improving your credit, it's definitely going to help your situation. I also add that too, because once I got into the fold of this and realized, I'm a senior director. I'm coming out of this great company. I got all these, I'm going to get a job because, I was going to go back to work. I'm going to get a job real quick. No, that didn't happen for the Black girl. That don't happen for the Black girls. They don't like us like that. They don't. I don't care if you ran the whole world. You can run the whole world. It's going to take you a longer time to get a job, especially paying what you have been making, than it is going to be for that to happen for some of your other counterparts, so to speak. I just want to drop that knowledge for people.
That's true.
It's true. So your network in every element of your life becomes your network in terms of gaining gainful employment again and getting in this game. So because I didn't have a job, that was a blessing. I had time to get in the game, get in the streets. Who else is doing this business? Who can help me get a good person to do hardwood floors? Who can help me get a good person to do my drywall? Like every element. Being out of work was the best thing that ever happened to me, you all, because I had time to focus on myself, and I had time to make mistakes, and I had time to gain knowledge. I would never do it any different. I would never do it any way different, because had I not lost my job, I know for a fact I wouldn't have these other properties.
Sometimes we have to be sidelined, and I mean, I know that personally. Sometimes you have to be sidelined just so that you take the rest that you need, and so and also so that you can take in the things that you need to learn that you're just moving too quickly to catch. Sometimes you just need to just slow down to catch up with the opportunity that's waiting for you.
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely so. Definitely so. COVID was that for me. And that's when I actually gained the knowledge and I got to that point, and I tell this story a lot of times, that I got to that point that I said, okay, there's more for me and our purpose. We need to be intentional. And once you get COVID and you're laying in the bed or whatever, you start thinking about a whole bunch of stuff. Your life flashes across you. And I was like, okay, there's more to just go into your 9 to 5. I have to, even though I've had these other multiple streams of income, that's where the knowledge and the information I've been getting on AirBNB, coming in platforms like this, even by Turo. Turo is another avenue, another thing that we're going to be talking about that, some episodes down. But it's that time that you just have that you say, okay, I got to sit back, I got to chill, and then allow all those things to flow in and not be just so busy with life. Yeah.
So Robin, as you said, you kind of was thrown into this, but you really weren't thrown into this. But as you were learning, because I'm going to assume you were learning pretty much as you were going. So how did you determine like the pricing structure? How did you choose the ideal? I mean, you told us that you wanted the property, but other than the property being, on either side of you, what made it the ideal property for Airbnb? For that individual that's out there that's saying, hey guys, I really want to get into this. I'm not really sure where I should buy a property. I'm going to use, whether it's, I'm going to do it under my business, I'm going to do it under personal, I'm going to lease a property. And we're going to get to that, y'all, because I did say lease a property. So we're going to touch that too. How do I determine the pricing structure so that it's lucrative? And how do I determine the best place?
Yeah. Here's the thing I would tell you. I buy my properties in good neighborhoods. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Like, I just do. I know that some people, but they're still changing neighborhoods. So Chicago is a little bit of a different dynamic. Know your market. I would say that. It depends on where you are. So I'm in a changing neighborhood. A lot of these neighborhoods were, predominantly Black. They're now starting to become a little bit more multicultural. One of my properties is close to the University of Chicago. One of my properties is close to our convention center. They're both close to the lakefront. The people like water. So they're close to the lakefront. All three of my properties here in Chicago are in the areas where they're now going to be doing the Obama Center and the Tiger Woods golf course, right? So that, you may pay a little bit more, but at the end of the day, you need a place where people are going to feel safe. You need a place where people can kind of walk to restaurants, or either they're in a proximity where they're in a car and they can go to restaurants and different events, ride their bike, play basketball, whatever it is that people essentially want to do. I'm not very far from downtown. I'm close to public transportation. These are all the things that you essentially want to think about. In terms of pricing, Coach Sean, one of the things that people have to do is really do the research. So if I'm in the University of Chicago area, I'm going to go onto Airbnb and I'm going to type in University of Chicago. And I'm going to look to see how much my property. So I had 3 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms. It could be a garage if I allow for you to use that. I don't always allow for people to use that.
Now, is that an extra charge? When you do?
Everything is extra charge.
That's what I wanted to hear you say. That's what I wanted to hear.
Upcharge.
Everything is an extra charge. And I don't typically allow pets, but people like their pets. So, and people treat their pets. A lot of these people treat their pets better than they treat each other. So if people want to bring their pets, I'm going to essentially charge you for that. There's a certain number of people that can come into home. If it's a number over a certain number, you charge them more. But if you really want to learn Airbnb, go out and read the descriptions. And the thing I would tell people more than anything, follow what a superhost does. That's how I became a superhost in both of my properties. You basically want to go out and make sure your descriptions are tight. Your pictures need to be professional, not from your phone. Pay somebody a little bit of money and get some nice pictures. And it doesn't have to be really expensive because you have a lot of photographers that are just starting out. A very good girlfriend of mine helped me find my photographer, and I actually have professional pictures. And so you want that property to show up in a space and place where if they have to select you over other locations, that you come to the top. So your pictures become critical. What are the amenities around your area? That piece is key. What restaurants? What lakefront? Are there museums? Is there a bike path? Can they golf, right? You want people to know those types of things, but you would price, Coach Sean, based on what you see other properties priced. But if you've got better amenities than those other properties, don't be afraid to take your property up, but you can't be so far out of whack that you're not going to get rental. So that's why the neighborhood component is critical. The other piece, you have to be as diligent about the city's activities as the city is, right? So if Old School Picnic is coming, if Lollapalooza is coming, if Taste of Chicago is coming, this is one I had to learn about. K-pop groups. K-pop group came to the doggone social field in the Asian community. When they left my house, and still to this day, the Asian Netflix is stuck on my TV, so I know everything that they're watching. It's started me watching Asian programs. That's real talk, though. I learned.
Listen, when you're doing a business, when you're about your business, you have to understand your business. I mean, for many of y'all that are watching, y'all probably have been seeing all these TikTok videos, coming out from me. But I had no interest.
You did, but the other piece too becomes you have to be knowledgeable of those events, because if you're charging $300 a night, then now you got to take that sucker to $400 or $500 a night. What came here? All Star. My place typically rented for $3.99. I think when All Star came, I ended up renting it for like $6.99 a night. You have to because at the end of the day, your pricing is still going to be so much better than a hotel.
Yeah.
I mean, because you've got a whole house situation going here.
So let me just back up. Let me hear you correctly. Yeah. So basically what you're saying, so for the person that's thinking, if you pick the ideal location, if you do your homework, if you set it up just like Robin has said, and you go through and you keep up with everything, and you in Chicago, like Robin said, if she would have, let's say All-Star Weekend, really kicks off on that Wednesday. People don't leave until Monday. So we're talking about Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We talk about 5 nights.
Mortgage paid.
$700. That might be 2 months of mortgage right there. And that just wants to say. So folks, we talking about income producing properties here.
Absolutely.
So I need y'all to get an understanding.
That piece is key. And again, I would love to be in Kim's situation of the no mortgages. But here's the other thing I want people to think about. Because another thing Black people are scared of is credit. Y'all scared of credit. Yes. The people say don't use no credit cards. Don't get nothing on credit. Yes. How do you think the other people are? They're not all trust funders.
No.
So if
other people's money and other people's
money, y'all. So
OPM.
The other way I think about it too is this. Airbnb helps me pay these mortgages, but at the same time, I'm gaining equity. So ultimately, my model is I may never pay these houses off, but so long as I can sell it for more than what I paid for it, I'm winning.
Yes.
That's my formula. That's what's comfortable for me. That may not be comfortable for anybody else, but it's really what's comfortable for me.
Well, yeah. See, I was going to talk about, the fundability of it all. But, one of the things that you said is you went from working full time, having this property, having the property sit, going and, studying, figuring out how to become an entrepreneur, and then going back to work. Now, both you and Kim are in the same situation. We often talk about that word entrepreneur, but you identify yourself as I'm going to let you say it. It sounds so good when you say it.
What Kim and I are parallelpreneurs. Look it up. That's what we are. We're parallelpreneurs. And it's okay. Here's the thing. I remember when I was in these entrepreneur classes and I would watch some people, and it's okay. Everybody's a different type of entrepreneur. But people would be like, I use my 401k, or I use this, I use that, to the point where these people were broke and they were still trying to figure out how they were going to get to this dream. Not to say that they never were going to get there. Yeah, I don't operate well like that.
Yeah, neither.
That doesn't work for me. I knew for a fact, like, I didn't want to use any of my 401k and pension that I had just rolled over from my job. You know what I mean? I knew that I was still relatively young. But what I will say I did, Coach Sean, was this, and it was nothing but God. I was able to join a company where I could do both things. If I was at the last company I was at, it would never happen. They sucked everything out of you. By the time you got work done working at 8 or 9 o'clock, it was still in your mind and you could never turn it off. I'm now with a company that, these people literally don't send out emails after like 3 or 4 o'clock. I don't understand it, but it works for me. So, because I'm not accustomed to that. I'm used to working like a freaking slave. And so it was good to know that you could have a job in corporate America and have work-life balance. However, my ultimate goal still is to be out of corporate America. So the Airbnbs and houses that I own, coupled with the other businesses and food and beverage consulting and things of that nature, what I want to do is set it up so when I'm ready to roll out, it's already established. That's what I'm working on.
Exactly.
So now my question, and I wanted to address the fact that you work full time and both of you have these businesses, but being in the Airbnb industry, what type of time and financial commitment is involved, and how do you manage that?
When I was so let me go back. When I did get a job, I couldn't find a job in Chicago. Everybody, I couldn't. They didn't want to hire the Black girl with all experience in the same city that I lived in.
Much money.
They like, we're not paying you that.
Yeah.
So I literally had to go to New York. I went to New York City. So I lived, go get this apartment in New York. Oh my God. I was working in Jersey. So very good question, Coach Sean. I had a team that helped me manage my Airbnbs. Best thing I could have ever done. So I had a person who would serve as my hostess. She would do all of the communication. I could always see it. That's the nice part of Airbnb. I saw everything that was going on, but because I knew I couldn't always be Johnny on the spot, I had to have a hostess. So I had to give her a certain percentage of whatever that rental was going to be. And then I had a very good girlfriend who worked with me at my last job. Even though she made great money, she likes to clean houses. I don't get it, but that's what she liked to do. So
does she travel to Florida?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
But she loved, honestly, Coach Sean, she loved to clean. It was like her ministry, and I trusted her. So they became my team. They really did. So I didn't get to Superhost without a good team.
Exactly.
Those people still, and then my girls, to this day, without them, I know I wouldn't have gotten there because it was nothing I couldn't, manage. Couple things about Airbnb. You will not be successful if your place is not clean. You will not be successful if your place is not clean. Why? Yes. Because they review you. Yes. You get reviewed. You have to clean up. So here's the thing about the fee. You don't even have to take it out of what the rate is for the home. Charge an extra fee. My cleaning fee for one house was $125. The other fee was $150. Whatever came of that, I kept none of it. I gave it to my cleaning lady. And she knew off rip, that's what she was going to make. She loved it. She was making bread. She loved it. So for her, it worked. And then the same thing with my hostess, she would get a percentage off of every single rental that I essentially got. What's nice about Airbnb is they make it seamless for you because you can literally, same thing with VRBO as well. They're getting a little bit better. I prefer Airbnb, but Airbnb's technological system makes it very easy for you to manage the business. They do an amazing job. VRBO is trying to get there. What I would tell people is, though, you do have the ability, however, to merge both of the calendars. Mm-hmm. You can merge both of the calendars. So you don't have to try to wait. I got somebody over here on Airbnb and VRBO. No, those systems have the ability to be able to talk to each other if you want to work through both of them.
Gotcha. Okay, great. Now this question is for both of you. So Robin, if you can take the Airbnb short-term side, and Kim, if you could take the long-term side, and just, tell our viewers, those that are, wondering, what are some of the overhead expenses? Because outside of buying the property, there's other things that you have to do to maintain it. For instance, Airbnb, you want to make sure you get those good ratings. For long-term, you want to make sure that they keep renewing that lease for you. So Robin, if you want to start off and talk about that, and then Kim, you can jump in afterwards and talk about from a long-term standpoint.
Yep. Short-term, you have to furnish the place. So right off the cuff, you have to furnish it, and you furnish it down to everything basically that somebody would use in a home. So you've got to buy beds, you've got to buy furniture, you've got to buy sheets, you got to buy utensils that you use in the kitchen. Like literally think about setting up a home from an Airbnb standpoint. Now, here's the thing. Not all of that stuff needs to be new. So you could leverage some of those, offer up secondhand demos. People are a little creepy about that stuff now from an overall COVID perspective, but I bought all my stuff pre-COVID. And all we do is basically spray that sucker down real good. People still, let me be honest with you, even when COVID was happening, y'all, people were still trying to rent these houses because they were so tired of being in those homes. So overhead basically is furnishing it, making certain that you have utensils and everything that they could essentially use, toilet paper, paper towel. I'll just buy those things. It depends upon how long they're essentially there. If they're there for like a weekend, we make sure they have enough. If it's a longer term stay, I'll start you out with so much, and then you buy your other things. The other thing I do too is I have to pay the heat. I have to pay, it's a house. Like literally they're showing up. So you have to essentially cover, Wi-Fi, everything associated with that. But the beauty of it is price it accordingly. Just price it accordingly so that it all essentially, makes sense, and it does. It pays out. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So from a long-term standpoint, some of those things I don't have to worry about. And of course, and that's where the money difference is. That's where you see it. Because of course, with long-term, you're going in, anytime I'm turning over a property, first of all, the couple of properties I took carpet totally out. Because that was like the number one thing when you're going in and you're changing over tenants, that you're having to replace the flooring. So I just went ahead and just sucked it up and just went ahead and said, okay, this particular one is going to be all tile. This other one's going to be tile and wood, and not have that carpet and not have that expense. So you're going in essentially just making it nice and making sure that curb appeal is there when you're looking at long term. Getting that person in, not having to really worry, you get the first, the last, your security deposit, but you're not having to worry about some of that overhead, the lights, the waters, the utility, all those things are going to be in that tenant's name. So you don't have to worry about that. Taxes, of course, you have to worry about your property taxes, as you would even if you were doing short term, you would have to worry about your property taxes. But outside of those property taxes, outside of doing the maintenance, because now it gets cumbersome with tenants, we probably all can attest to that I can get a call at first thing in the morning before I even get up, getting my morning started, and say a water heater went out, or plumbing is an issue. Got to call those plumbers. So again, like Robin said, even in the short term versus long term, you have to have a great team. When you have a great team, and when you essentially have systems, no matter what you're doing, if you have systems, you can almost make sure that some of those things are, kind of taken care of, as far as even with long-term pest control, worrying about pest control. I just recently, I think last week or so, I had somebody go in and pressure wash both of those properties. So those things, you have to make sure that you're maintaining those properties, because with those, they're yours. No matter when they can go off and go on about their way, those are still your property. So those are some things that you have to worry about But again, Robin is where the money really resides, though. And that makes a difference. The more you do, the more you go get paid, So I don't have to, like I said, I have a property manager. So those couple of properties that I have right now, they're not in the area that I'm currently residing. So I have a property manager that is excellent. She is actually my broker because I'm a real estate agent, and she's my broker and one of my best friends, as you said, Robin. And when you have a team like that, I don't have to worry about much. She knows pretty much all those people. We have the people that take care of electrical, whether it's plumbing and all those things, and we just have them on speed dial, and we're able to just call them whenever we need to.
Yeah, I'm going to add to Kim's, please, and I know you want to another question, Coach Sean. She's right. I have a lawn person. Like, I'll be honest with you, y'all. It's just I ain't doing that. Like, it's just some stuff I'm not gonna do. It's just not gonna happen. I just don't.
You don't do it down here either, Robin.
Yeah, I don't do it. So I got a lawn guy. I have a guy. My handy guy or a person who fixes things. To Kim's point, and those people will flip. Like you gotta. The one I had started with is not the one I have now, but the one I have now is the one I love, right? So it's you have, what happens is your network becomes so tight that literally you become the person, specifically as a female, who people will call and be like, I need a plumber, or I need an electrician, or I need somebody. You end up becoming that resource because that's what we do, right, Kim? I mean, this is what we do. And this is the one thing I also try to tell people too, as females, this is a scary space for us to go in because it's typically male dominated in many instances. And we do have to deal with some things. Like people will try us and do things different because they'll assume you don't really know what you're talking about. My one property, if you go to CNBC, it was season 2 of CNBC D Chicago. I think I was season 2, episode 4. I tell the story of how I rehabbed that house, right? And I told that story because I wanted to be vulnerable. I wanted to let people know what is supposed to be a setback is always a setup for a comeback, right? So I literally, got on national TV and told people, like, I lost my damn job. Like, black people don't be telling people, we don't tell
very transparent.
We don't tell people when we lose our jobs. And I was like, I lost my job, but this is how I spend it, right? So we have to be vulnerable. We have to do what you guys are doing right now, which is share information. I don't want people to make the mistakes I made. I don't. I want people to learn from, what we're essentially talking about now, so that the money that they do have, they can leverage it to do good, because people helped me when I was out there. So if we can continue to do more of this, a lot of people can avoid a lot of pitfalls that I just don't want to see people go into. And I definitely don't want it for Black females. A lot of times we're single. It's not what we plan to be, right? But it's what we are. That still, at the end of the day, shouldn't stop you from really, really fulfilling your dreams. And going out there
Exactly. You know what? And typically we're talking about even starting up, the startup costs. And then I guess we're talking about, one versus the other, whether you own it and have that mortgage. And then again, going into that space of, and have you thought about it? I want to ask you that, Robin. Have you thought about maybe just going into having somebody else's property and utilizing it for Airbnb and for that platform?
I have. The thing is, I've thought about doing that piece. One of the things that's happening to me here in Chicago is I bought my home. I'm in an older home. This is a historical home. And so it took me a long time to find this gray stone. It's a red stone, because I was looking for something with a lot. Very hard to find in Chicago because we're space constrained. Well, another good God ghetto blessing. When I bought it, there's another lot next to my lot, right? So this is a real story for me. Maybe I might take over somebody else's place and Airbnb it. But I've been working with my alderman here in Chicago, and there's this lot available. I talked to my neighbor to see if he wanted it because he had fenced it. You could do that in Chicago back in the day. If the neighborhood was raggedy, nobody really cared. But once these neighborhoods are worth something, they're like, I don't care if you fence it or not, you don't own it. So I went to him because I want to have good neighborly relations. And I said, hey, here's the deal. It's a lot of other people moving in our neighborhood. And I don't want them to get this lot. Do you want the lot? Because I'm going to try to get the lot. And he said, no, my wife is deceased. My daughter doesn't really come around a lot. So if you want to get the lot, I'm not going to give you a problem. Went through the whole process, whole year. just got granted this lot. I still have to buy it. It's about a 1.5-year process. So I'm going to build on this lot.
Awesome.
This is where I just insert and using, you know, my Cardi B voice and say, "You making money move."
I'm trying, but
and I absolutely love it.
But Coach Sean, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna do it, right?
You didn't know how you was going. You didn't know how you was going to close in the house then when you lost your job, right?
I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm definitely gonna do it. So Kim, I'm gonna get back to what you said because I know that's not the question you asked.
No, we're just flowing. We're just
going to think about, man, like really be knowledgeable of what's around you and what those opportunities may be. I'm a huge proponent because it's what you were talking about before, Coach Sean, of people utilizing other properties. If you can lease something and they allow for you to release it for Airbnb, start like that. You don't have to own these properties, right? Obviously, check with that leasing agent or the person who owns the property, because if they've got a clause in there that says you can't do that and that's what you're renting for, and now you're in this lease that you're not going to live in, that's a problem. But if they allow for you to do it, absolutely I would. It's a great way for you to go in and not have to take on all of the liability that's associated with it. And even if your money isn't always right, that might be something that's really good for you to partner with somebody on, so you both can kind of really, you know, learn. And maybe a year-long lease as to how you really want to do this and do it successfully.
Yeah, and then you can team up. And there are people that are even on Facebook and in various groups that are looking for people to team up with. But of course, you want to find somebody that you can trust. You know, I have a couple of business partners that have actually said that they want to go in, and it's always good. You know, we always are out here trying to do our own thing sometimes, but not knowing that sometimes there's strength in collaboration as opposed to competition. It's not a competition, and what you can do, you can get those together as a team. You incur that cost, you split it in half. A lot of times, like we're talking about getting other people's property, you can essentially get into somebody else's property for $4,000 to $5,000. That's covering the rent, going in with the security, going in and even furnishing, taking a couple of $1,000s and furnishing, like you said, getting on one of my favorites is Facebook Marketplace.
Absolutely.
On there and finding those. Finding those deals, getting the Keurig. You may have some stuff that's sitting around the house, you know, that you're not using. Those are the ways that you can go in together and try to say, okay, let me try this first one, and let's go in. Let you get your $2,000, I get my $2,000. Let's start out here and see where we are. Now, the thing with it, when you're doing business credit and you're doing the corporate side and you're using maybe an LLC, sometimes you can find properties that will allow you as a corporation to go in, and then you can get units, multiple units sometimes, all at one time. So you can have one day that you set out and you come back home and you have 3 units ready to go. If that's what you want to do.
Now let me talk. Let me talk a little
Orlando, we're here, and I'm ready to get in with some people. And we sorors, so we trust each other because we sorors and stuff. And you know how we do. You know how we do. Yes, ma'am. So in that. Get with people that you can trust. Say, and even with Coach Sean actually has a thing with her family, and getting in and saying, let's do this investment. Let's try this one. Hey, if it spins off and it works, let's go get another one. Then the next month, let's go get another one. So my plan, I'm being a little bit ambitious even in trying to do this. I've been saying, okay, we're in June essentially right now, halfway through the year. I'm like, I want to get to the point that I have 3 to 5 by December. I want 3 to 5 units. I really want 5. And I'm just saying that I'm putting it out there and I'm being ambitious and say that once I first start that first one, go maybe 60 days and see kind of how it goes. And then boom, start just rolling them off. Business credit, corporate, going in and saying, again, like you said, what you want to do, you don't want to go in and undermine them and just have them thinking that you're going to be there.
Yes,
you don't go in. Like me, I'm a pharmacist by trade. So what I essentially want to do is go in and say, hey, I have, this is my corporation. This is my LLC. I have, other professionals that are coming in, that come into town here to Orlando because, you have travelers. I have doctors. I have maybe nurses, other pharmacists that are traveling in, and they need to utilize this place under our business. Is it okay? I mean, you may get some no's. You may have some people that say no, but you may find that when you find that one yes, that's when you can go off and you can kick off and say, okay, this is a spot I can get about 3 or 4 units here and I can make it happen.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Definitely.
I'm gonna talk a little bit about, because you brought up the situation with my family. And so what I did is, because we always talking about business credit and personal credit, and in order to really get your business credit going, you have to have good personal credit. And then you have some people that have good credit, but they don't have the financing of it. And like Robin said, and it's about building a team. And so what I did was I got together with my family and I said, hey, I do all this other stuff. Let's do a family business and let's get together, put some money together. And as we begin putting this money together, let's begin establishing a business. So what I'm currently in the process of doing is establishing business credit for my family business, our investment business, where basically every month, everybody puts money into the pot. Mm-hmm. And at a certain point in time, we'll go out and begin doing one or two things. We'll end up leasing properties and Airbnb them. Mm-hmm. We'll end up buying properties, gutting them, flipping them, mm-hmm. selling them, making a profit, or buying them and Airbnb. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Yep. And it's not something that you have to do alone. Yep. When we talk about having a team, if jumping off a cliff is a scary thing. But when you have somebody holding your hand and it's a group of you, mm-hmm. holding hands, mm-hmm. jumping off the cliff, mm-hmm. it's a lot less scarier.
Yes,
absolutely.
And so that team building component is very important. And that's very different from my personal property. So for me, I became I ended up with multiple properties because I bought properties, lived in them, moved, bought other properties, and then some other shenanigans that I was doing when I was younger. But from a standpoint now, like in Kim's standpoint, that's personal property. Mm-hmm. If I want to go to the next step and say business property, which was like my family, I don't want to go in and put those mortgages under my name. I want to go through the step of doing that as a business property where I can get business write-off. And folks, I try to tell y'all that when you have small businesses, medium business, when you have a business, period, you have access to so much more income when you are utilizing business credit. Yeah. Personal credit is awesome. But business credit, I'm telling you, that's like the difference between a Benz and a Rolls right there.
A whole nother level.
Yeah.
So Kim, talk to us, because you have your properties under your business credit. Mm-hmm. And I know you said you already owned them and everything, but did you have to like create a real estate business plan? What are some of the steps that you had to do to put that property under a business?
So really, I mean, as far as a plan, I didn't really, I'm kind of like, Rob, I just jumped in. And with that, I said, okay, I'm going to start getting this and have one of these and transition into the business side, because I could do so much more with that business credit. Of course, you want to get with one of us, Coach Sean or me, and we can guide you through establishing an LLC. It's something that's really quick and easy. Yeah. And I admonish anybody that's a W-2 employee, while you are still a W-2 employee, be a 1099, have your business, as well, so that you can actually have those tax write-offs. Those tax write-offs in general, that money that you're getting, instead of flipping that money and going and, and of course, I've been to Puerto Rico a couple of times this year, but instead of going and getting on the plane and going to Vegas and going to Puerto Rico and going to DR, take that money and invest in yourself. Invest that money so that same money, those same $2 or $3 grand that you might have paid to go off and fly out. And yes, the Facebook stories were nice. We enjoyed them. But it's more essential to be able to lock in and be able, like I said, you can get into these properties $4,000 and have something that is going to be reoccurring income each and every, not just monthly like long-term is. Like Robin, she can probably turn on that phone and every day or so when they're checking out, ding, ding, that's it. Yeah. That's the level that I am trying to achieve right now. That every day you will sleep we are making passive income.
Right.
We will never have what we want. We will never acquire the things that we want and the assets that we want working for others, you know, going and exchanging money for time. We have to get to the point that that money is multi-streams, that we are having that money, you know, make money for ourselves. So again, that business credit is essential. Going in, getting that LLC, starting off there, going to that, getting that EIN, going there, getting your DNB. You know, if you guys don't know Duns and Brad, we will teach you. We will tell you how to do that. We will help you set those things up. And then at that point, then we get to going into, you want me to go there? I don't know if you want us to go into deeper into, you know, the accounts and getting that paydex score up to where we need to be. And then what these people will do a lot of times when we're going in and we're saying business credit and we're going under that, they're going to look at our Duns and Bradstreet. They're going to look at our paydex scores just as they do with our personal credit. And they're going to say, okay, you know, how long have you been out there? You want to go ahead and get it started as quickly as possible, because the longer that you've had that LLC in place, the better it is for you, the more solid and the better that credit profile is. And it affords you so many more opportunities, that to the point that you can start then going and getting funding and the kind of funding, not just your $20,000 Amex card, but start getting the $50,000 and $100,000, where you're able to do like Robin with development and properties. You can swipe a card almost and do your down payment with almost with a card.
Real talk. I mean, that's honestly, and I was doing it. This is really helpful for me because I was doing so much through my personal credit, right? That I really need to flip into the business. This is where I'll also be very transparent. So all of my properties, except one, are under LLCs. Actually, LLCs that roll up into a series LLC and an S corp, right, for tax purposes. So, but again, I still don't know everything that I'm doing, y'all. I'm not on here trying to tell you like I've got all the knowledge in that area. I need to talk to Coach Sean and Kim to make sure I'm really leveraging the true benefits, because I know that I am not. But I knew to do those things. Why? Because I went to like some seminar that told me that that's what I should do. There's still things I need to do though. So I got something in the mail about the Dun & Bradstreet. I haven't acted on it, right? So just what you mentioned and what I've talked to Coach Sean about, there is so much more that I could be doing. So what I want to make people understand is this: people don't move a lot of times because they feel like they got to have everything together, right? You got on here and probably thought, oh, Robin is doing X, Y, Z. I'm all right. I'm cool. But it's still stuff I'm learning. So you're always going to be on this journey of learning. You can't get to where you want to go if you don't start. So that I just want people to do is start. Like whatever it is that you're impassioned about doing, start. And know that it's okay to make mistakes. That's how you learn. You don't want them to be detrimental to you. And that's why you leverage, people in your network. But just start. That's the thing that I'd like for people.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
No. It's never going to be perfect. There's never a perfect time to do anything. No. There's never going to be a perfect time. No. And no situation or opportunity is ever going to be perfect. But, they always say, in order to walk 1,000 miles, you got to take that first step.
Absolutely.
In order to get to the top of the hill, you got to put your hand up to begin to climb. I mean, so everything is a process. It's a process. And when you have, and it's all about a team, and Kim and I are on here a lot, and we're bringing different people, and we're always introducing people and trying to introduce people to the community, because ultimately our thing is about generational wealth and creating that generational wealth, because those are things that we were never taught. Now, we all know each other from the Hill, from fam, but we were never taught how to run our own business. No. We were taught how to manage other people's business, how to make money, making money for other people, but we were never taught financial literacy. And that's crazy, because with all the accounting and all the economic classes that, Robin and I went through, that we suffered, I'm going to say suffered, that we suffered through, especially I remember the summer of 90 that we suffered through that econ class. We were never taught what financial literacy and how to create generational wealth. And it's something that we're constantly failing at. So it is very important to have a team of people. Like Robin said, I was talking to Robin, and and I listened to everything she said. And Robin she is very successful operating off of her personal credit. And now not too many people can do that. And y'all, she told you she's not even at an 800, but not too many people have the wherewithal to do that. But if you can only imagine if she's doing this with her personal credit, when we get her to the point that she has transitioned and she's using business credit.
Oh my gosh.
Because she already got like four homes that's making money coming in. I mean, y'all, we talking about income producing properties. It's real. And people that look like us are thriving, are killing it.
Yeah.
So, don't be scared. Every now and then you got to just jump off that cliff. You got to just take that first step and say, you know what? Let me invest in myself. Let me handle my business. So,
and like you said, it starts off with personal credit and making sure that we are lining everything up and that we are able to do that. Because most of the time, and I'm not going to be, I'm not going to say that it's not transparently. When I've gone in, I, just let go of my trucking business last year. But when I went into that trucking industry, I still had to use some things. I had to be a PG for a lot of my things because of the fact that it's a brand new LLC.
Now, Kim, explain to them, because you use PG and people are like, well,
personal guarantor. Yes. So personal guarantor. So I had to go in, and I still, for some things, of course, I looked at things, I researched, and people were like, yeah, they ask you for your social security number. Don't write it there. Just put that EIN number. Well, I tried that a few times, and certain things that I really essentially needed. I need my driver to get some tires. I need my driver to get this transmission fixed, or all these things. And I had to use it to a certain degree. Yeah. So, and I'm being transparent, and I'm transparent even with my clients. I am still transitioning and bouncing back from with my credit. My credit is not where it was pre-COVID, pre-trucking. It's not where it was because I had to utilize my credit. Some of those credit cards that I had I was like, oh, I was never, and people can ask, I was never one of those credit people because, of course, we're taught if you use these credit cards, I have it, but I'm not use it. Not
Kim is my mirror talking right now.
Well, I think probably a lot of that is probably because when we were on the Hill, we had people throwing cards at us.
We can talk about that.
You can really do that, because I was one of those people, not to cut you off, Kim, that was taught like what you said. Had I got a credit card, my mama would have killed me because it would have showed up at the house. So it was nothing I ever did. But what I will tell you, though, is this, and you are correct. When I didn't have a job and I needed to get those houses furnished and get certain things done, baby, you need to get credit when you can get it. Yeah. Don't try to get credit when you can't.
When you need it. Say that for me one more time.
Say it again.
Get all the credit you can get when you can get it. That way, when you need it, you can use it. But you don't get it to go buy frivolous things like bags and craziness, right? Yeah. When I use those credit cards, and I absolutely had to, and Kim, it was like somebody was piercing something through my heart, because I was still battling with myself on, man, I shouldn't be using this. But I was buying stuff to furnish my place or maybe finish up some tile. Like I was legitimately using this money to really, really manage my businesses, right? And I still felt guilty because that's how we have been reared. Maybe I'm so cool with using credit now. If I need it, I don't even know what to do. I mean, I'm good, but I don't abuse it. I don't abuse it at all. I mean, I don't use it for things. I use it for things that I buy in my home. At the end of the point, to your point, you can now write off because it's part of your business.
Yeah, and then once you get going with it, you start utilizing it even more, because you'll realize that even when I'm going to the grocery store, when I'm getting this gas, I need to swipe this. Even if I can go pay it off next week, I can pay it. That money, that debit card is not building your credit.
It is not.
And I used to be one of those, if I can't pay cash for it, I'm not getting it.
It's not giving you those points. Those points. You can use those points to pay for a lot of things. Like real talk.
Cash can take care of your vacations.
Say it again.
One of the things that, Kim, and I appreciate your both of you guys' transparency. is that when we talk to people, a lot of times, you guys see us on here, we talk about credit, and you probably see me talking about sexy credit, and because everybody wants sexy credit, right? So,
yes, it's the credit coach.
but we don't just, when we sit down and we talk to people, we tell people it's not just about, because people think it's your credit score. It's not just your credit score, it's your whole credit profile. And it's educating you to understand how the credit system works. And that is so important. So when you have situations where, Robin, you're going out and you're using your card, or Kim, you're going out and you're doing all these different things, and you say, your score has fluctuated, it's dropped, you're able to make these decisions because you understand, okay, I just recently bought 2 cars within, 30 days.
Yes.
So on my personal credit, that's going to make a change on my credit score, because at one point in time, one car and the new car are both going to show. So it's going to show this big jump, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then next month, that's going to come off, because one is going to show as paid off. And then the new one is going to show, and then it's going to balance each other out. Mm-hmm. So it's not going to bother me when I see my credit score drop, because I know it's going to go back up, especially after I begin making a couple more payments, because I just spent more. Or if I go out and I spend, I put $2,000 on this credit card. Well, I know that my score is going to go down, especially if I'm over 30% of my utilization.
Exactly.
But once I get that down, then that score is going to go back up. So when you understand how the system works, sometimes, people want to get into the game and you don't understand the rules of the game. And that becomes a part of the problem. So when you understand the rules and you understand how everything works, then you can move through and you can make different decisions, and you're not panicking, because it's like, okay, well, I know this is going to happen because I did this, but I need to do this, 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 and this. And it doesn't really matter. But, I need to go do this. So I need my score to be back up here. So I know I just need to get it into place by here. But in order to do that, I need to do this, 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 and this. And it makes a big difference. So it's also, when we're talking to you guys, it's not just about your credit score. It's about your profile. And it's about educating you. Because you can have a credit score of 700 and go to buy a house, and a person with a 680 can get a better rate than you, simply because their credit profile is better, because they're less riskier than you are with that 700. And I know somebody is just like out there like, what'd you say? Yeah, that's right. You can have a high credit score and still be a higher risk than someone with a lower credit score, simply because of your credit profile. So it's not just about your credit score, it's about your credit profile. It's about that complete package that speaks on your behalf.
Exactly.
And those are the things that when we talk about Robin making money moves, those are the things that allow you to make money move.
Yeah, I mean, you're dropping a ton of knowledge. I mean, the thing is coming off of this call, I definitely want to talk to both of you about moving in a better direction as essentially relates to that, because I am getting ready to do some very big things, and I don't want to do them out of my personal credit, right? No more should I be doing that. I do some things out of business, but I know for a fact I don't do enough. The other thing I wanted to throw out too, the work that you all are doing is also getting people truly business ready, like setting your businesses up appropriately so that if anything insane, like what just happened for COVID-19 in 2020, when PPP and all of these things were available, if your business is set up right, you can get that money, right? Under your business, those forgivable loans and things of that nature. If your business isn't set up right, it's hard for you to get that. So all of those things that you are essentially talking about, Coach Sean and Kim, are spot on.
And it's worth paying somebody to do it. A lot of times people say, I'm going to read it, I'm going to do it myself. And, Kim and I,
you always say you could go wash your car, but am I going to wash my car like the detail man is?
I'm sure not. It's not going to look the same.
Right. Exactly. I mean, I pay somebody to do the lawn work. I mean, if this somebody else knows how to do it. And again, if you are going to make my situation better and add to what I'm trying to accomplish from a team perspective, you got to pay people.
And you can write it off.
If
it's a business,
you can write it off. Yeah,
if it's a course, you can write it off. If it's a coach, you can write it off. All of those things can be written off, and people don't understand it. Like I said, to invest, you have to invest in yourself.
You do.
It's the only way that you're gonna get where you need to be. I have people that of course, we only charge, what is it, Coach Sean? Pretty much, if we're talking about personal credit, usually we're under $200. To start it.
Easy.
And I mean, and
actually, Kim, let's just put it simple. We spend. I mean, I'm on a phone call with sometimes with people 3 times a month, and we're charging. They're paying less than $100 a month just to get direction for their personal credit, and then even with business credit, when we're working with people and doing our consultations, our consultation fees are just $100. And if you go out and you look out on the website, people are charging you $149 for an ebook that they wrote that you trying to sit there
more than that
and figure out what to do. And at the end of the day, you're gonna call us anyway.
Yeah. You don't understand it.
And we've done it. We do it.
Our goal is also not just, everybody wants this we live in this microwave society, and everybody wants everything just quick like this. So I have people, it's almost June, right? I got people that have called me up this week and they need to be out of their apartments by August. And now we want to get started on credit. You can't just wait until, like we said, until it's time to use that credit. Then you want to get right. What we're in business to do is not just to get you right, just to get in that house. As I tell my clients, look, we're going to get you in this house, and I'm teaching you. We're on Zoom with our clients, and we're walking them through. We're not just doing the work. People want, are you right? Are you doing this and you doing that? No, I'm teaching you. We're coaching you through this, because essentially what we want you to be able to do is go tell your auntie, your sister, your cousin, and teach them. And that's what creates generational wealth. Right. We want you to be able to get in these homes. And after you get in these homes, not get so comfortable that, okay, this is my home. Like I said, your first home is not going to be just your dream home. We don't want you to get in this house and say, this is going to be my dream home and this is it. I'm just using my credit for this and this is it. And now it's just using my credit to go get some cars. No, we want you to be able to get in these homes, get you settled. And then within so many months, we want to be able to get you into these investment properties, into these income producing properties, so that they are essentially taking care of all your liabilities, as well as taking care of where you even reside. So where we're getting rent, as you probably can attest to, Robin and Coach Sean, when we've had these properties, those properties are helping pay for our own places that we have a roof over our head. And that's what we want these people to get to. And that's what we're trying to push and we're trying to preach. And of course, you can take them to the water. You can't make them drink though. Right. But I can show you the water. We're going to show you the water. We're here. We're saying free consultations. We will stay on the phone with you. Of course, we say 15 minutes. Sometimes those 15 minutes turn into 30. Whatever it is, we are here to help you. We've done this. We've been there. I'm not trying to convince you to do something I haven't done. We've been there. We've done this, and we're actually learning more so that we can actually teach and empower others to do the same.
Yeah, Kim, I think it's very important. A lot of times we talk about these legacies and creating generational wealth. And, right now, the big thing is the GoFundMe. And, we've talked about that before. Somebody dies and now you have these big GoFundMe.
That thing right there is the most misused tool I've
listen, I don't even know if the people ever get the money. I don't even know how that works, because I've just never done one. And I don't ever see myself using one. But, and I'm thankful that I have enough things in place that if I don't open my eyes tomorrow, my family don't have to use one either.
Amen.
And so the thing with that is that we want people to position themselves to think about those legacies. Like, what's the financial legacy that you're leaving? How are you setting things up for those that are going to be here when you're no longer here? Because, the one thing we know is, no matter how we play this game of life, at some point, budget is going to end for us.
So what
type of financial legacy are we leaving? And that's the key about creating generational wealth. That's the thing.
It's so funny you're saying that, Coach Sean, because we have Miss Lavelle Bing is on our comments. She just said GoFundMe keeps getting richer. Well, Miss Lavelle Bing is actually a funeral home director. And so it's so funny that, well, I won't say funny, ironic that we're saying this. And she's on here on our live right now. And she's been commenting. So yeah.
Well, I'm sure that helps your business out a lot. I'm not sure if you ever see the money from those GoFundMes. I'd love to know what people really do, with that money. Sometimes I don't even think it's a fish
fry on Friday after repast.
That's probably what it is. It's probably that fish fry.
You're wrong.
I'm playing y'all for all those out there.
But listen, but seriously, I mean, I think the conversation is good. It's great. We need to have more conversations like this. We need to have these conversations, and we do this every month, and we try to pick on a different topic. And so, I know we're over an hour now. We usually try to keep it to about an hour and a half. And but this is just such a great conversation and great energy. But before we leave, I want Robin, if you could just leave if you can just give 3 tips to someone out there that's saying, I really want to take that leap. After listening to you guys, I want to take a leap of faith, and I really want to get into the Airbnb industry. What are the 3 main things that I need to do? And then Kim, if you can look at it and someone says, okay, I don't want to get into the Airbnb, but I want to get into long term. What are 3 things that you can tips or things that you can tell them that they need to do?
Yep. From an Airbnb perspective, I would say, hey, know your market. That piece is critical. Do all of your math, right? Whether it's something you own or something you don't own, make sure you do all of the math associated with whether or not you even want to go into a lease, because we talked about that before. You don't necessarily have to buy this property, or if you want to purchase that property. And then the other thing I would tell you is, make sure that you have a good team working with you. This isn't something personally I think that you could do, on your own. Those would really be my the 3 things. The overarching thing, and I know you said 3.
No, go right ahead.
Keep it moving, because you're overlapping on what I probably would.
The only other thing I would say too is just be passionate about what it is you are doing, and make sure you are attached to a great network.
Yes.
Right? That piece is critical. That network is critical, because they can essentially tell you the do's and don'ts of getting into this business.
That's it. And just on top of that, your network is your net worth.
Period.
We say that all the time.
Yeah.
And again, having your credit on point, because things happen. God forbid something, even in long term. God forbid that water heater goes out. God forbid maybe like last week I had even have an electrician out to go check out some things or whatever. Tenant wasn't even telling us what was going on. He's been used to having slum landlords.
Yeah.
They don't even want to tell you when something is going on. So I said, okay, my property manager went out. She called. She says, well, this is going on electrically. I said, well, how long has it been going on? Oh, some months. Months? What the? Why didn't they say anything? Got on the phone, called someone. She had a connection. She has connections just as well. Called a guy. He got out there. Under $200. They have been sitting there running. I won't go into it, but anyway, they have been doing some things and just living subpar, and it didn't even have to do that. We have to just have a system, like you said. What I'm trying to get to and trying to reach is, if I get these Airbnbs, and when I get into these Airbnbs more, I want to make them automated as much as possible.
And
if I have the opportunity to have that keypad on there and be able to change it from my phone or change it, whatever, put in the last 4 digits of their telephone number, whatever that is, that they're able to do that. You have your cleaning crew, still a part of your team, having that cleaning crew. I have a cleaning person that when those properties transition and they transfer over to another person, I have this one person that I call that I know that can go down through there, and like you said, Robin, you said you give all. Now I've heard, that if we do this, that maybe that cleaning person, you let them go. Yeah, because that's your girl though. That's your girl. I understand that. But a lot of times you'll have somebody, maybe they only charge $125, according to the size. I've seen, and I know I've been in properties here in Orlando that cleaning is freaking it's gonna be upcharge. They're gonna get another 100, 150 off this. They're gonna double it. They're gonna make it 250. You know, having those things in place. When I go into doing the Airbnb, we want to have a Keurig. Certain things that like you said, that you visualize that if I come here, I want to make sure that it's comfortable. I want to make sure that I get great reviews so that I am a super host such as Robin is. And I'm going to be getting on the phone saying, hey, Robin, give me some pointers, because we don't know it all. We never know it all. When we're in the process of it, we're always learning, always finding new tricks and new tactics to make it more efficient and make sure that the money makes sense.
Yeah. The last thing I'm going to add to Kevin, I forgot that piece again. I've been doing this for so long, I took it for granted. The automation piece is critical. I have keypads on everything. I have a keypad on the garage at the house. I have a keypad on the doors. A lot of people, when they haven't used it before, they're like, oh, you're going to come and let me in. I'm like, I let no one in. Yeah. Okay. You're going to let yourself in. And the other thing I also have is cameras. So your Ring camera, I have them on the front and the back. My house that I'm in now has 8 cameras, so I can always see people. But I always keep a Ring camera, because what happens is it's automated. Sometimes people are going to have challenges with the door. I can literally see that it's going to alert me somebody's at the door. That's another thing, because they know you watching them. So if they come up to the door and you have it, hey, whatever that person's Tom, looks like you're having some challenges with the door. Put in this code, pull it to you, whatever we have to get them to do, and then they'll essentially go on. The beauty of this situation, and you said it best, Kim, and I forgot all about that, it's literally automated between the app on your phone, putting these people in a keypad. If nothing goes wrong, all you see them is on that camera, and when they run you that check.
Yeah, that's it. And so the only person that's going in and out like that would be whoever your cleaning team, whoever your team is, and your maintenance team. Now, for you, are you
give them a code? Everybody has a code.
Everybody has their own code.
Oh yeah.
Everybody has their own code.
Now, are you keeping your products, those things like your paper towels, all those things? Are you keeping those on the property themselves? Are you having to transport them there? Okay.
We just keep enough, because you don't know how people are. So we don't, especially when the toilet paper towel thing.
I was going to ask you, how you handle the toilet paper?
No, we did not. we gave them just enough. It was like, you need to go to Walmart, because it was insanely crazy. So we don't keep it on the property. But for the most part, I'll be honest with you, most stuff we keep on the property. I work for Unilever, so we make Dove and different shampoos and Love Beauty Planet and all this stuff. So I'll put some of that stuff in the house at the same time. But you don't have to do that. It could be Suave body wash. It's just whatever you want to put in that may not be as expensive. Those are nice amenities. I'll keep a hair dryer in there. Think about it like a hotel. And that's all you really want to give them. Just enough, right? To, and I put things in there, although it's nice. I mean, if somebody decided they wanted to do something crazy, like if you take it, I'm going to charge you for it, but I'm not going to be mad, right? Yeah. Now, the one thing I do, this is just me, y'all. This is important to me. And I think it should be important to you. I buy high thread count sheets.
That was gonna go there with mattresses and all.
I buy high thread count sheets. I buy high thread count sheets, and I buy nice fluffy towels from like Costco. Bad sheets. Right? We're women, so act like it could be some men on here too. But these places, you almost want them to be, to me, just in those are the things I go a little further on, because they matter to me.
And you can write that off now.
What's that?
You can write that off.
And I can write it off. But those are the things I go. I'm like a 600 to 800 thread count sheet person. They're not expensive anymore. You can buy that stuff for good prices. They last a long time. Cheap sheets don't last. So you might as well pay some good money for your sheets and also for towels. I don't typically do white because girls lose a lot of makeup. I'll do different colors like grays or blues. I say Costco for towels. You can also use Amazon. I don't have as good Amazon. Nah, I'm just real particular about my sheets.
Yeah.
So that part is important. Just those little things.
So sheets, not white sheets. I know.
Nah,
I've heard horror stories.
Doing too much.
I've heard horror stories. Yeah,
like grays, blues, like not dark blue, powder blues. Yeah, that type of thing. We have some white sheets. I do have some.
Like an
I
ivory.
definitely don't buy white towels. No.
You said ivory?
Like an ivory.
I don't like
Yeah.
ivory.
You don't want to have to go get to spotlight.
I don't do ivory because ivory could be perceived as dingy.
Okay.
I don't. But I just like that. I'm a Virgo.
Okay.
So it's got to look right. You know, like if a towel for me gets a little crunchy or it gets like something on it, I know there's nothing wrong, but I immediately throw that in the garbage and go get something new. But they last. When you buy good stuff, it actually lasts. Yeah.
Typically, I want to ask you, what is the range usually for your places on a? I mean, like I understand, like you know, like we're like even Tallahassee right now. I've been looking at Airbnbs for home.
Don't talk about home.
Overrated.
I have to go stay with my daughter and stay in her.
You need to, because the hotel rates are insanely crazy. It's ridiculous.
I'm renting her couch out.
Man,
I'm doing that on RV. I've been thinking about an RV as well.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah. My one house is $299 a night. But when I started, it was $199 a night. The house that I did the show on was $299 a night, and this house was $399 a night. But this is the one that I would take the other one up too, but this is the one that I would always go up on. So between two, but again, depending upon what's going on in the world, Kim, you run your business like the hotels do.
Yeah,
you're always going to have a better value. But that's what I tell you when we were talking about the cleaning fee. You don't want to get so exorbitant on that cleaning fee because what happens is this.
It turns people off,
Well, not even this. You got to pay a fee to Airbnb. And then depending upon where you live, these taxes now that people are hit with. Chicago is the worst. Like they tax these people for everything. And not that I tell people this, and that's a whole nother conversation. But when you get to a good place where you have good clients, I'll go private. And I don't always go through Airbnb. But you have to know those people.
Yeah. Especially if you have people that travel
and all those taxes. It's just too much in taxes. I still claim the dollars, but it'll be a private rental. So right now I actually have a rental with a fellow Famu. He's actually taping a show here in Chicago. And so where I would normally Airbnb my place, because Airbnb is off the roof. Like if people had Airbnbs now, you'd be making so much money now, it's sick. I didn't want to actually Airbnb my place this year because I knew people were going to be frantic in their travel and partying. And so for me, it wasn't what I planned. I ended up getting a long-term renter, but he is actually taping a show here in Chicago. He lives in California, came here, and he wanted to rent my place from April to November, to the end of November.
Wow. So you're good. You don't even have to send anybody in, no cleaning fee, all that. It's,
And getting booked by a production company.
Wow.
So that's what I tell people. There's so many things. When you get in this thing, Airbnb, furnished finders, people should write this down. That's another one. That's where you get the nurses from. VRBO, I'm sure there's some other ones, but those are the ones I highly recommend. And when you get in really into the groove, people are going to start seeking you out for different type of opportunities. When I do privates, though, I literally write them a mini lease. It's like a mini lease. So if they go in there and do just something crazy, you still liable at the end of the day.
Because otherwise, if you're on Airbnb or VRBO, then they're going to actually incur that cost of whatever.
Oh, one last thing. This is important. With your insurance agent, whoever you get your insurance through, let them know that you have an Airbnb, and they have the ability to be able to give you a different type of insurance that will help cover some of those things if Airbnb doesn't cover something. Because Airbnb can get tricky on you too. So now just to double covered, you want to do that. Sorry.
What about home warranties? The home warranty programs. So if your water heater goes, how does that work out? So for me, my private rentals, it was great because every time they were clogging up the shower, I just call them, pay that amount. But how do you find out that how do you find that works with Airbnb? Or is it better just to have your team?
It's cool. For me, it's like if I have I like people going into my houses that I know. So anytime you're working with those companies, they're going to send you whoever that person, is. Okay. What I'll typically do, the person looks like me. The clients may not look like me. The person will look like me, and they see us on Airbnb. You can tell I'm very familiar with this person. If this person is going to go over there, I let those individuals know exactly what he is going to look like. I find out what's going on with them. Is the time going to work for you? If somebody clogs something up, typically what people are going to clog up in your house is going to be makeup wipes. Okay. You need a sign that says, do not flush these makeup wipes, toilet wipes, sanitary napkins, they should know, but girl, everybody ain't raised. So you want to make sure
Oh my gosh. This
that
is
was
like
so 80s.
been up in the dorm. So
But the new thing, y'all, are these makeup wipes and the like those toilet wipe things, because you're really not supposed to flush those down the toilet.
no.
They will tear your
whatever you have up. Yeah.
That's the one. Both of my houses, I was like, what are these people doing? So when the plumber would come, he was like, makeup wipes. And nowadays, back in the day when we were going to school, I mean, we were glamorous, but not as glamorous as these girls.
Not these days.
Everybody between hair and makeup, like you got straight stars in your house. I mean, so and they use
and they on vacation.
I mean, they're just
YouTubing.
Yeah, they're really superstars, and so the things now they're different. Great, I love all of the people that come again. Airbnb is the best, but those are just some of the things like this conversation we're having around the automation. Kim, you brought that up. I forgot it, which is key. Questions around how much you charge and what you do. Put up, like I literally have signs that say in my bathrooms, do not flush these things down the toilet.
Wow.
I have 2 separate garbage cans. I have one garbage can for garbage or whatever they want to put in the bathroom, and then I have one for the sanitary napkins. We have 2 garbage cans, but that only became because of what was happening.
I was going to say that had to be a problem.
Because they were flushing stuff down the toilet, and every time you turned around, whatever I was making, I had to pay the plumber $200-300. But hey, now all of you don't have to do that.
Exactly.
Told you what?
That's good advice. I mean, y'all learning things that you would never know, that you would have to learn by experience.
Yeah.
So, don't be like me and put your hand on a hot stove after you've been told it's going to burn you. Some things you just don't have to learn for yourself.
Yeah. There's more ways to skin a cat, as they say, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, final thoughts, final words.
For me, just start. I just want people to start. If you have any questions, Coach Sean, Kim, you guys have my information. Whatever.
I got one question. Let me interrupt. I got one question. Are you interested in being a Airbnb consultant?
I don't know about.
Wait. We're gonna talk about this stuff. I
don't know about being an Airbnb consultant because I have so many other things going on. But what I will do is help the people on here that essentially look like me.
Yeah.
I don't know if I necessarily. I was a person who went to real estate school and didn't have the aspiration to sell real estate. I only went for the knowledge of. But that's just what I do. When I know what I want to do, I just want to know enough to be dangerous, but I may not want to consult. For like Airbnb consulting.
Love it. Enough to be dangerous.
Yeah, it could be. That ain't what I want to do today.
I'm all about team building. That's what we do.
But again, I'm willing to.
We'll have some more sessions.
I'll talk to you guys.
Okay. All right.
There's some things I need from you coming off of this call.
Got it. Tell everybody about your business. I mean, we talked about your Airbnb, but you do some other awesome things.
Yeah.
Just put it out there.
Yeah, I do.
That you do and how people can reach you.
Yeah, I've been in consumer products for over 25 years. I've worked for, my longest standing stint was with PepsiCo. Now I'm with Unilever. And so one of the things that I do, because I've been in that arena for so long, is I teach people how to really build their businesses in the food and beverage space. One of the clients I actually have is a fellow FAMU, and his business is Eating to Live. If you look it up, you'll see it on the site, Eating to Live. He basically sells a braised collard and kale green. So he has distribution in our grocery store here, 85 stores here in Chicago, which is Jewel Osco. And we're looking to try to, run it e-com, also get it into food service entities as well. You'll see some stuff from us on a cooking and chef platform aimed at the African-American community. Ghost kitchen, shared kitchen spaces, anything food. As you all know, you all have somebody that Black that can bake or cook or has a fantastic product that that you would buy it if these people had the ability to produce it and get it into stores. It is a challenging thing to do, though. So I've been in this business for so long that I feel it's my obligation, to help people as much as I can if I think they have a viable product get there. So that is really what I do all day, every day. Where can they find you? So Robin at thecarterconsultinggroup.com. I know that's really long, people. I apologize. But Robin at thecarterconsultinggroup.com is the way that you can email me. And then my website is thecarterconsultinggroup.com.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We do have a question. What do y'all think would be the best investment? And then they came back, and Ms. Drake came back and said, investing in stocks or property, which is better?
Both.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Diversified.
Yeah.
Diversified. Multiple streams of
Nick, I would like to tell you something different, but at the end of the day, I think it's both. And I'll be honest with you. I wish I had started investing in stocks a long time ago. It goes back to what Coach Sean talked about, though. We're spending all this money on these college educations, and I love FAMU. I just feel like, again, nobody taught us that those were the things that we should have been doing. You know, had we bought Apple stock, a Google stock, or some of these stocks when we were in school, this conversation that we're all having would be inherently different. So I would just tell you, you know, try to diversify and really do both.
Definitely.
And when you're talking about, you know, stocks, I like to tell, I mean, I used to tell people, okay, go out and buy these individual stocks. But when COVID hit, believe it or not, I sold off a lot of my individual stocks, and I started doing options. And and
I need help.
I make more money off of Apple stock than I did owning the shares of Apple stock. You know, just by doing option trading.
We got to talk.
Learning and understanding. And here's the thing: both are risky. Owning property is risky.
Yeah.
Having stock is risky. We had a property, one of our properties, when we moved out in Jersey, had the bathroom fully redone, had a tenant that was in there for a couple years. When that tenant left, now mind you, this was brand new bathroom, done, basically suited out for us. And then we decided 3 months later we were going to just move, right? So pretty much they got a brand new bathroom. And after them being there 3-4 years, we went in and it was like, what the hell? Like that bathroom had to be totally redone. And so we're talking about $10,000, right?
What were they doing in the bathroom? What were they doing in the bathroom? Hanging from the shower? We won't go to
saying this is not my house.
Pretty much.
All they would
do, and the thing is, like, I got my rent. I got my rent on time. They were good tenants. But when it was time to move out, it was like, well, they weren't as good of tenants as I thought, and so the money I made was not worth the money I lost.
Yeah,
exactly. So you know that's the thing. Both are going to be risky. Stocks are going to be risky. Property is going to be risky. During the
job is risky,
right? But during the Trump era, the market was very volatile, but you were able to make a lot of money. Good. Things have now kind of settled down and are back to normal. So you're not making money the same way unless you're really putting the time into it and learning it and understanding it. And it takes a lot of time. But even there, it's a risk. So
all of it.
So I always tell people it's like, don't gamble. Don't take what you don't have. Whatever you're doing with stocks, make sure that it's money you can afford to lose. Yeah. Because if it disappears, it disappears. And that's the same thing with property. And that's one of the reasons why we talk about doing it from a business aspect, because when things like that happen, you can begin to write those things off. Right. And under your personal, you can't.
You cannot.
Yeah. So that's what I'm going to say is the risk. Personal.
One last ad, and I can't type in here, guys. Tiffany has Robin at the Consulting Group. It's Robin at the Carter Consult. Can you guys type in there, Kimberly?
Yeah, sure.
Robin at the CarterConsultingGroup.com.
You probably can just, I think, take.
It only allows me to do it, Coach Sean, in a private chat. I can't.
Okay.
I'd have to probably log in, and I didn't do that or sign up.
We got you. We'll get you in there.
Thank you. Yep. There you go. Thank you.
Gotcha.
All right. Now, what else were you about to say?
That was it for me.
Okay.
That was it.
Kim, I'm gonna yield it, back over and let you close us out. Robin, I thank you for taking the time to come on.
Thank you.
Like I said, these are my good girlfriends, my good goal friends. It's not a lot of people that I can say that I have known for as long that, they pick up the phone and say, hey, give me some input, give me some, or vice versa, that you can reach out. And that's important. You got to have people that you trust, people that you believe in, people who their life is authentic, and they're not just talking a good game, but they truly understand what's going on and are in your best, moving and putting things out there that's going to be on your best behalf. And so I told you guys that these were two very phenomenal women, like most FAMU women anyway. I mean, I'm a little biased when it comes to that orange and green, but but for everybody else out there, whether you're from an HBCU or PWI, at the end of the day, we are truly about lifting and building each other up and trying to create generational wealth. And so however we can help you, we want to help you. Allow us to do that, reach out. And I'll put my information in the chat, Coach Sean, that sexy credit, you don't have it. That credit don't look as sexy as you. Hit me up because, we got to get it there. That's it. Turn it over to you, Kim.
You know what? I just like to thank each one of you guys for coming. I mean, of course, like you said, we FAMU women. I mean, we do it well. When we do it well. And, of course, I value and I treasure my time there on the Hill because, of course, like we said, no matter whether you went to Harvard, whether you went to FAMU, whatever, most places did not teach you. They taught you how to go make money for other people and to get a salary. But again, as we say all the time, if you do not, the whole mastery of money is being able to know how to manage that money.
Right.
So often we have, so many of us, we make all these great figures, 6-figure incomes, but do not have that matching. Our credit score doesn't match up with what we make. What we're doing, it doesn't match up. So when those opportunities come about for us to be able to jump on game, to be able to jump on things such as AirBNB, Turo, we're going to be talking about those things even. Jumping on these investment properties, all this real estate, we can't do it because we're not in the position to do it. Mm-hmm. We have to make sure that we're getting our house in order, that we're taking care of our personal credit, as well as being able to evolve into business credit, to be able to channel and have that wealth be distributed to our families and generational wealth for generations to come. Yeah. As opposed to, as we've seen with our counterparts a lot of times, those things are taught at the table for breakfast in the morning. They're talking about stock. These things talking about cryptocurrency. Those are like generic terms, as opposed to talking about liabilities. They're talking about assets. And we have to change our mindset. And we talk about that all the time. Coach Sean started off tonight talking about that. Our mindset. All these things start there. Changing our mindset, evolving, and realizing that, okay, I went through those periods of times. And of course, I did as well when I got off the Hill, that I was spending my money, spending and going check to check. Sometimes some people say going from, it's not Friday to Friday, but going from Friday to Monday. And, just barely getting by. But when we know better, we do better. So I just thank each and every one of you guys for coming and sharing this knowledge with our platform, Credit Keys and Cocktails. We are here every third Thursday of the month. Coach Sean is here along with me as a co-host. We have other panelists, and we actually want you to come back, Robin.
Absolutely.
So we are going to connect. Even though we can talk about other things, we have so many other multiple streams of income that we are doing out here that we can help our communities and help empower each and every one and educate them. So thank you, ladies. Thank you again for being here tonight. And again, catch us every third Thursday here, Credit Keys and Cocktails. Next month, we'll be talking about something totally different. But again, leveraging your credit, something that you're going to be able to leverage your credit with. And it all starts out with your personal credit. You can find Coach Sean here on Facebook. Go ahead and give them your page so they can go ahead and follow you now, Coach Sean.
All right. If you go out to Credit Sense, CREDIT, and Sense, CENTS. Yes, y'all. Everything money. You can find our Facebook page, or you can find me, Coach Sean. on Facebook as well. You can find me on Instagram as under Credit Sense. You can also find me on TikTok, where I'm trying to master this new thing, y'all. All things business related. Look me up on TikTok at Credit Sense. Once again, that's CREDIT, Sense, like money, y'all. CENTS. And if you want to get started today, check me out. We got a special. Go to www.creditsense.us. Okay, when you get a discount, get signed up, get you started, and get your credit looking as sexy as you. Because everybody wants sexy credit, y'all.
Yes, definitely. So that is our residence hashtag sexy credit right there. She is doing amazing things on TikTok, and we are so proud of her. Check her out on TikTok. She got some stuff going on, funny things. I mean, entertaining, but then again, we're also just being educational too as well. So we have Robin. Robin can be found at robin@thecarterconsultinggroup.com. Again, that's robin@thecarterconsultinggroup.com. If anyone also wants to get in touch with Robin and does not remember that, once you get off, get in touch with either one of us and we will connect you. We will actually get you on the call with her or have her connect you, because as she told you, she's trying to empower people just as well. So as far as me, you can find me here on Facebook under Kimberly E. Shannon. Also, you can find me under Good Credit RX. You can also find me over on Instagram under Kimberly Shannon Official. And then you can also go to www.goodcreditrx.com. Again, www.goodcreditrx.com. So again, we're happy to have you guys. We look forward to seeing you every third Thursday here on Facebook Live. We're going live. We're talking about some things, and we're trying to make sure that your house is where the money resides. Thank you guys very much. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Be blessed, everybody. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you most definitely for being here.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.